Boom! Hello, everyone. Welcome to another fun, exciting Sunday morning on the Live Connection channel. I'm Peter.
I love our Monday morning podcast.
I was combining Live Connection and Sundays. That's how synonymous
Monday.
things.
Monday.
Anyway,
Should have a new day of the week.
These two jokers on the stream with me today are Jarrod and Erik. How's it going, guys?
I'm alive. I'm hanging out.
Good.
Yeah.
It's November.
It
Excellent.
is November.
We got an extra hour of sleep.
I didn't know that till this morning when I woke up when some of my clocks were different than others. I was like, what is going on?
Erik and I were just talking about it because Erik saw some things where people were complaining about the time change. And I was like, honestly, if I didn't get told beforehand that we had a time change, I would have had no idea. Besides, like, every clock I have changes automatically at this point. So I'm just like... I would not have known. I would have woken up and been like, oh, look, it's 10 o'clock or something.
Yeah, my coffee maker is right beside my microwave, and the microwave time was still the same. So I was like looking at my phone, looking at that. I was like, time change?
Yeah, I don't, it's not as big of a deal as people make it out to be.
And I'm one of the people where I'm still in, online classes, COVID situation, so... Time means nothing for me. I don't fucking care.
No,
it could be 4 o'clock at night right now, and it'd be, or in the morning, whatever you want to call it. For Jarrod.
Morning, wake up time, boys. Time to get a workout in.
Jesus Christ. Ugh.
I had like a kind of, I think it was on Friday, I had a bit of a rough sleep, and I woke up at like 3 in the morning, and I could not get back to sleep. Like, I was laying there, and I was like, this is fucking stupid. Like, I want to sleep, I feel tired, but it just wouldn't happen. And you know when you start getting impatient when you can't get to sleep, and you're just like there, and I'm like, I fucking hate this. I just get out of bed, I'm like, screw this shit.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten to the point where you've done it, where you've just been like, you know what, fuck it, and you just get up?
Yep. Oh, yeah. No, I've definitely done that. I've done it a few times where I'm like, no, I'm done. I've slept.
Done that at like 2 in the morning because like you just keep tossing and turning. You're like, fuck this.
The worst part about it is
happening.
The worst part about it is then later in the day, it like hits you like a wall. Like you all of a sudden get to a point where you're like, my eyeballs are broken. Like I cannot. One's functioning separate from the other one.
Your body's like, you've been awake for this many hours. It's time to go to sleep. I don't care what time it is.
Shut down time.
Yeah.
Man, wouldn't that be scary if that was just like an automatic reflex in the body? It's like when your body's like, your internal clock is like, it's sleep time.
It's like Stardew Valley.
You're like The Sims.
Oh,
you just
man.
have to start waving at the person controlling you like, hey, take me to bed, please.
For a game that's like not stressful, Stardew Valley, that is the most stressful thing, is when you're like really pushing it and you're running and your bar's like starting to like have sweat come out of it and you're like, what the fuck? And you're like running and then you just crash. There's 2 times where I crashed literally outside my door on the stairs going into my house because I was in the damn mine trying to get down a certain amount of levels and
someone
takes forever to get
still
back.
robs you on your property. It's bullshit.
I know.
And then it's like Linus, I think his name is, comes in and he's like, hey, I found you. Seems like someone robbed you. I don't know who it could have been. Ooh. Should be more careful.
Oh, yeah.
The best part about it is, or the worst part about it is, there was a few times where I was robbed and it was important shit that I needed that I'd been like searching for some time that got taken, and I was like, you motherfuckers, where are you?
Like a birthday gift for someone the next day.
Yep. Oh, and they're so hard to come by because they're seasonal. Like, most of the great gifts are seasonal in that game, and then you gotta wait another so many hours in your life. Oh, it's horrible.
I don't even remember her name. Abigail, I think, actually.
Oh, she has like some of the hardest gifts to come by.
Hers are actually pretty easy. One's
Aren't
just amethyst, which is like a pretty common stone in the mine, so you can just...
For her, like, excellent, or her best response?
She likes, like, amethyst and pumpkins.
You haven't described anyone, Jarrod.
I think it might be
Penny.
Leah, or Penny. I think it was Leah or Penny, whichever one lives in the trailer with her mom.
Penny.
In the game. Penny? she her stuff is specific, like super specific, seasonal, and it's also super rare to get. And I hate it. Like, I'll get some, like, and now I'm stuck at the point, because I have my own playthrough on my phone, since they made it on mobile, and it's, like, the only mobile game I play, which is, it's fine. It's fun, but I'm stuck at 2 hearts. I cannot get her past 2 hearts. And I'm pretty sure because of the last 2 hearts, you need, like, excellent gifts to get her past, or like, the best tier of gifts to get her past that. And it is just the worst thing. I have everything I need to propose. I simply need someone else to work on this farm because it's becoming too much for me to handle on my own.
You just need an unpaid worker.
I think you might need to like proc one of the events, a hard event, to progress. I know that's sometimes one of the reasons.
I've been trying to figure it out because I'm like, I'm getting annoyed because every week I give her 2 gifts and she's like, oh, I like this. This is lovely. And I'm like, oh, you obviously don't. You didn't change.
You gotta make some penne pasta. She'd like that.
Like,
She'd
I hate
penne.
Yeah.
I hate what Peter brings
like
to the
that.
table.
Yeah, like
That joke Peter, is almost as bad as what Halo Infinite might turn out to be based on everyone leaving.
What?
You know, I had multiple topics lined up to segue into that, and Jarrod just fucking bulldozed through like half of my plan for the podcast. Jarrod single-handedly just it's just my worst nightmare, and he doesn't even mean to be. I feel like
I'm lost, honestly.
All right,
are people saying Infinite's bad now? Like what?
All right. So ignore Jarrod.
The game's not even out. We didn't even get anything.
So, a little while ago, the Xbox Twitter account decided that they would roll with the memes. Have you guys seen the Series X fridge?
I'm enrolled in the giveaway. I want it so bad. It's so stupid, dude. I want it. I want it so fucking much.
I have to give the Microsoft team applause there. Great job, like, rolling with
the marketing quote where it's like power your dreams and then it's like does little power your memes. Exactly. I like that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. But when I was watching like that video they had for it, I noticed like on the side of their like the console box and stuff, they have just Master Chief slapped right there. So then I realized, oh, Infinite isn't even launching with the Xbox anymore, and they're still rolling with that artwork. I just think it's a very interesting decision.
I'm not too surprised because like Master Chief's pretty synonymous with like Xbox and Microsoft, so he's kind of like with Minecraft Steve, I guess. They're kind of like the face of like they're the Mario and Link of Microsoft, I would say. They're the recognizable faces.
I think that's why they ended up keeping it on there because they can totally get away with it. But I wonder how much of I wonder if Infinite was a bigger part of their like launch plan initially.
It probably was. It must have been.
I will give them some respect though. Like, I mean, I can't imagine it was an easy decision. I mean, I guess based on the response of the community, but I can't imagine it was easy for them to be like, well, I guess we have to push it back. Like, I feel like that's almost. That would hurt them quite a bit because that's always been kind of a launch title, hasn't it? Most Xboxes have launched with a Halo game, haven't they? Didn't the last one like not the One X, but like didn't Xbox did it not?
No, because it came out. The Xbox 360 came out in like 2005, and then Halo 3 was 2007.
Okay, so then I guess it's not too bad, but I still feel like that would have been a bit of a hit for them because especially a company like Microsoft who. I'm sure they were like, this looks really bad on us that we have to push back a game. A company with that kind of reach and resources has to push back because their game isn't quality enough for people.
Yeah, it almost feels like if like Nintendo had to push back Breath of the Wild for the Switch. Like it's pretty big. It's kind of like their flagship like system seller and they just kind of had to push it back.
Yeah.
I feel though I'm with Erik though. I think it's not a big deal because he's symbolic for Xbox. Like if you were to go up to anyone and say like who was a gamer that maybe they were a different console gamer, they didn't own an Xbox ever. Like with me, even when I was on PS3, what I associated Xbox with was Halo. Like I never, that was like
Yeah.
the first game that came to mind when I thought of Xbox when I was playing when I only owned my PS3 was that it was Halo. So,
But like you guys are saying, I bet it was a difficult decision to delay it. But looking at the game's history, I think I've decided to be in the boat that I don't believe in Infinite. I don't believe in it. I don't think it's gonna do well. Just based.
I'm cautiously hopeful. From 4 and 5, it's 343 has shown that their storytelling isn't top notch. I like the going back to the more classic Halo aesthetic, which has me. That's kind of what is having me hopeful. But yeah, like 343 hasn't proven themselves to me still. So I really want it to be good because I love Halo so much, but like we'll see. It's hard.
Because they just lost their project director, and last year they lost their creative director and executive producer. So like
now those could have been saving
yeah.
face. Like one of the other things is they could have been saving face with those developers, like giving them a chance. Because if Microsoft outright was just like "fuck you, you're fired," and then they made it, they advertised it like that as "you're fired," odds are they would have a hell of a time getting hired by another game company. Because if a company, if especially for a franchise that is that pivotal, if they were basically like, fuck you, you're horrible at your job, what you're doing now. I think it was more Microsoft being like, okay, they discussed it with the guys and they're like, hey, we need to take this a different direction, but we want to also give that opportunity so it's not like you're done. Like it's not a huge X on your resume, essentially.
But still but like
I always just assume that it's like creatively the developer isn't being like
too committed to a certain
reached.
way or yeah
like they're not able
too.
to like bring their ideas into it as much as they want, so they're like, fine, I'll just leave and go start my own thing. It's like what happened with those Blizzard devs where they just started a big old new studio.
Yeah.
It all depends too, right? Like they could, because they would have been involved in the original in 4 and 5, right? Those developers and creative designers.
I assume so.
They would have most likely been involved. So they might have wanted to keep going in that direction that those were going, and Xbox wanted to pull it back to 3 and 2 and 1, right? Like they could have been. It could have been something like that as well, where they just decided they're like, hey, our 343 decided we want, like they're trying to listen to their community, but it's just, again, like you said, creative differences where it's like the developers are like this is a better direction, but they're trying to listen to the fans. Could be something like that.
The current project director, he worked on like some of the original Halo games. So when he replaced the last person left, people were like, yay, Microsoft wants to go in the direction of the older games. But now he's also getting kicked off the project. So I feel like it's a little bit of an anthem where maybe some people want to go this way, but I sense there's internal strife within the studio.
Well, for me, I'm kind of like Erik. It's like I'll be optimistic. I mean, I'm not as attached to Halo, right? Like for me, it's not a huge deal because I played all the Halos with Graydon and I've played a few of them with you guys online and stuff like that. But I'm not like it wasn't such a huge part of my initial gaming experience with anything. So I'm honestly, like, for me, I like the game. Like the stories have been fun. The games have been fun. Again, I'm like, even playing through them now and having been taken out of that, like I wasn't part of that first rush of people playing the newer kinds of games versus the old games. I still and I'm not a big fan of the old game control schematics, as you guys have heard many times from me, but I still enjoyed 1. Like 2 is still my favorite Halo. Like it right across the board, it is my favorite Halo for story, gameplay. I just really enjoyed it. The hardest difficulty is a pain in the ass with the whole one person dies and then it resets you back to a save point. But that's a different topic for a different day. But I still, even being kind of a third party introduced into the series, not having played each one as it's come out, I'd still say, like, I liked the game mechanics for the new ones, but I also hated the story was completely empty. Like I cared zero, and nothing about the story made me interested in it whatsoever.
Don't care about Locke.
Yeah, so it's
Stop with Locke. Why did we play 2/3 of the campaign as Locke?
Yeah, most of the campaign.
so to me it's just like I don't know. I'm optimistic in the past that maybe I don't think Microsoft would do that, but and I think they've had 2 games that have had enough feedback for it that they're probably going to try to push towards the other direction. And just because someone, like, I mean, it happens in movie directors too, right? Like, just because someone directed something prior to it doesn't mean they are going to do a great job of the current thing, right? Like, just because he worked on the original Halos doesn't mean that's still where his creativity lies. Because you also need that kind of uniqueness to it, right? Like, you want to have it relate to the old stuff, but you need some unique aspects to it. Otherwise, people will bitch about it being the exact same copy of a game that came out years ago.
But see,
so
that's why I feel like they're all over the place. I feel like they want to do that almost too much. They want to be catering to the old games almost too much, and it's led to them being in a weird place.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, at this point, if it comes out and it's bad, it's bad. If it comes out and it's good, then that's awesome. Like, I'm glad that they came forth with it.
For me personally, whatever. People leaving, that doesn't, I don't care. How's the actual gameplay? I had a problem with what I saw a couple days ago. They announced that their customization system is being ripped straight from Destiny. They're using the shades and like how how it's all loot based. I can't just change my armor this color and alternative color the other color. Now it's like the light. I can't remember what is the shader system where like, oh, I need like purple for my legs, for my torso, for my arms. And it's all loot based. And what?
How is it loot based? Is Halo an open world game now?
But okay, because the multiplayer is free to play and the campaign is paid. So everyone's been playing the multiplayer, and then they're already sprinkling details about how customization works like that. Everyone hated the system in Destiny 1, the shaders or whatever it was called. They're doing the exact same thing, even though 333 was like, we're not doing Bungie things. They're doing Bungie things. So that was just a very bad taste in my mouth, because I really did not like how the colors worked in Destiny 1. I take it, Eric.
We should bring back rec cards too. Let's bring those rec packs back. Fuck it. Who gives a shit then?
Can we just put Master Chief in Destiny 2? Can that be the next DLC?
The best Guardian.
The only Guardian the world needs. I don't even... I really like. I guess you could improve on that system. I don't like that it's loot based, because it's not an open world game. It's not supposed to be loot, right?
I'm
like you're supposed to.
Fine with cosmetic systems, but yeah, like fuck
like
loot.
What's the loot? Yeah, why are we loot? That doesn't make sense to me. I can understand this. Like, look at how Call of Duty does. Like for guns and weapons, how you can unlock challenges and you get certain skins for your guns.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that makes sense. For armor, though, what the fuck does it matter? Just let people make the character they want to make. Like, it's not like me being a green a green guy is going to be any better than if Eric's like, oh, I want to have some blue on mine. And then it's like, oh, but my color has attack bonuses, Eric. Mine's going to fucking own you. Because I looted it.
There's an industry standard right now. Fucking give a $10 fucking battle pass. You sprinkle in some other bullshit cosmetics, and then give some other like free shit. You'll get plenty of money from the people who stream the game and just dump hundreds of dollars to get every cosmetic, which that's cool, fine. There's a standard.
I don't want to pay
that
money.
Everyone's doing.
I don't want to pay money just for my character.
Was there an overall like negative response to that article?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good thing, because there is still time to change something like that.
No,
right?
I don't know about this one though, because they even said in the post like, oh, we understand that people like the traditional coloring system, the primary armor color, and the alternate or the secondary, but we felt like we wanted to improve on that. And so, like,
So
this system,
add a tertiary color. You don't need to add a fucking loot system.
and like this system applies to like weapon skins, vehicle skins. Like, the system's being used for everything cosmetic in the game. It seems like.
You know what? I don't often compliment Call of Duty anymore. I really don't, because it's the same shit, rinse and repeat. If there's one thing they actually do a decent job of, it's customization stuff. Okay? Like, they do a decent job of doing, like, you know, make your character how you want to make your character. Yes, there's some challenges, but still, make your character the way you want to make your character. No one has come up to anyone ever in existence and been like, man, you know what I wish they introduced into my favorite game? I wish they introduced the Destiny 1 loot system customization. You know what, only thing that could make any game better.
Yeah, I
is
looked
a
through the
skin
article, Peter.
Loot system.
It's not good. It's not good.
There's no like hyperbole in what you said. It's
Oh, and I like. And so it's.
I wanted to like not believe you. I like nothing against you. It's just I wanted to like fucking coatings.
Yeah, no. So it's that all like have all these different people coming in and out of the studio. So we'll see how the campaign story is. They're not going in with a lot of expectations based off what they've done in the past. And now they're already being clear with like, hey, we have all our cosmetics are behind paywalls, so have fun playing multiplayer. That's just what they've already said to me out of the gates. I'm like, I'll go play something else. We'll see how the gameplay is. That's what it ultimately will come down to, but...
Yeah. You hurt me today, Peter. I blame you.
Well, Eric, that's what you get for telling me about the Cyberpunk delay. All caps.
Hey, man, you were going to hear either way.
Hey, oh, Peter! Did you hear the news? I immediately assumed it was a Cyberpunk delay, too. I immediately assumed. And I Googled it. I Googled it at that time. And you were so fresh off that news, it didn't come up in Google.
It was literally like 20
so
minutes after.
It's not that. It's not that. Whatever.
It was.
And then half an hour later.
21-day delay.
I was like, oh my God, it was. That's what it was. He fucking got me. I was upset, Eric.
I will say, like, it's kind of not nice, but like, at least it's kind of closer to the holiday season, so like you kind of have supposedly more of a chance to play it. Maybe like things will be winding down, at least for like students and stuff, and like it'll be past that big initial explosion of releases with Valhalla and the Call of Duty Cold War and all that shit.
Yeah.
I feel like it gives a bit of breathing room, and I'm sure a bunch of those developers were all like, oh my God, thank God. Like, knowing that they're not competing with Cyberpunk anymore.
Well, actually, speaking of that, 2 games have been bullied into delaying, and they've been like, we don't want to compete with Cyberpunk. We don't want to be anywhere near that game when it comes out. A game called Everspace 2. And another one.
Wasn't Everspace that like isn't that one isn't it like a puzzle based game?
Yeah, it's like a space game. You're flying around spaceship.
Well, thank you. The space game.
That's all I know about.
Player 3D space shooter with roguelike elements and non-linear storytelling.
Jarrod, the article picture is a spaceship in space. That's all I had.
No, I was talking about the type of game, not you were in space. I love the Everspace game that takes place on the ground. Nothing gets me going like the Everspace game on the ground.
The other game was Path of Exile, Peter.
Yes, that was the other one. But
Endgame expansion.
I know nothing about any of those games. They mean nothing.
It says, this was a major blow to the studio.
For which one? Path of Exile?
For the Everspace
Oh,
devs.
Yeah, it's I mean, I was gonna say, Peter, does the delay of Cyberpunk 2077, is it piss you off more that it's because of them trying to optimize it for the current generation console? That's why they delayed it.
Oh, I don't care about their fucking reasoning.
No, but I'm
care.
saying because if they didn't have to optimize it for the previous generation console, it would have come out.
I don't care about their reasoning. It's the fact that
So
it's
if you updated your console to the next gen console and weren't a little bitch and sat there saying I can't wait to play it once on my current console, they would have had it out already.
It's your fault, Peter.
All about me. Yeah, my fucking gameplay experience. They're like, oh, who's that guy who pre-ordered day one? We know, we're listening to the LC podcast. We know exactly what he wants.
Oh man.
No, I don't care about the reason. It's the fact it's how many delays at this point. Commit to a date. That's what due dates are for.
I do think this is for sure the last one, and like, if it was any other year, I would be more upset. But considering it's this year, I'm just kind of like, roll with the fucking punches. It's been rough.
I also find it reasonable because it's I mean, it's tough, especially when you shut down for a period of time and you can't work on it at all. Like, that's a solid... That literally, they were probably locked down for the total of what they just delayed the game for. Like, 21 days of zero production.
They had an extra 6 months. 6 months. That's a long time.
Well, cut that in half, because they also were... No one was allowed to work for, like, 2 months.
Are you assuming things? Do you know what...
You're assuming things.
I'm not assuming things. They had 6 months to work on it. That's a fact.
No, you're assuming that they were working on the whole time.
That's the amount of time that's the amount of extra time they got from the delay.
Peter, how much were you working when your company wasn't working?
We're not talking about me right now, are we? We're talking about Cyberpunk.
So I see when you can't get your...
Poland? I think they're Poland.
Something like that. And my point is, I pre-ordered this game years ago. I've been patiently waiting. I was like, yeah, okay, delay it once, delay it twice. 3 times? All right. We got to have a serious discussion, young man.
There could have been, the best part, like, Peter, there could have been a, like, World War breakout, and you would have been like, you fucking idiots, you can't, like, Poland could have been ground zero.
They have investors.
Ground zero for the whole war, and they could have had a bunch of nukes just hit there. CD Projekt Red, no more. The date came around, they're like, hey, we got to delay because we need to build a new building to build our
Why wasn't there data in the cloud?
No, they had to build new buildings so they can work.
Relocate.
They're trying to.
Okay.
There's no more buildings here.
I'm not arguing a nuclear situation. Okay, that's.
I mean, a pandemic is bad. That's not something that's easy.
I've given my reasons. You know my stance. I have nothing else to add.
You're getting the game soon, Peter. And you might be able to play it on next gen.
I will be able to play it. I will. That blue.
It might be on next gen.
I can't wait till
you might not have a choice.
No, I can't wait for Peter to go into Facebook Marketplace to buy an Xbox One X so he can play Cyberpunk.
Facebook Marketplace. What the fuck?
No, I'll put ice packs on the console to prevent it from overheating. I'll put it outside. I'll figure out a way to get it to work.
Peter, if the temperature's not actually hot of your console's not actually hot, it's not overheating.
I need to get into its mind.
Peter, not everything's as simplistic as your mind.
Okay, well then I'll bring out the original Xbox and play it on that.
You'll have like 15-hour loading screens.
Yeah, it's a commitment. It's a long-term
playing at like 10 frames.
This is the best game ever.
Because I'm pretty sure, didn't like Xbox One X, wasn't it like 10 times faster than the previous Xbox?
Probably.
That's fine.
Wasn't that like one of their selling points for it? So
I
now
get
you're gonna
to
be 10
enjoy it
times slower
10 times
than a game
longer.
that's not even supposed to play on the current gen consoles.
I get to enjoy it with 10 times the amount of.
I need a signed agreement that you can't bitch about the load screens.
Regardless, I'm gonna play Cyberpunk and I'm gonna have a great experience. It gets a 10 out of 10 from me, guys. You heard it here first.
Peter's gonna have to play. Peter's gonna have to play on Project xCloud. He's gonna have his phone out playing Cyberpunk.
No, it'll still overheat the Xbox.
It's gonna. You guys can laugh at me all you want. It's gonna work.
I just want more people to join in my Xbox hype. And if I have to bully someone into doing it, so be it.
My Xbox has bullied me into it. It didn't need any other motivation. It's like, you want to see pictures on your screen? Fuck you, here's some screen tear for you.
I will say one thing I'm disappointed about the new Xbox, that there's no unique UI. It's just the same UI we have right now. I was like, oh.
Well, that was the point they updated the UI.
But I was like, I want a new UI.
I've kind of thought about that. I'm kind of happy because like it means like you just get to transition easily into this new one, like no learning curve.
It feels like,
but it also is like, yeah, like that's part of the excitement is like having the new UI and being like, all right, let's discover everything like within.
Well, PlayStation wasn't that much different.
There's pros and cons. Like I don't. In the end, I won't care. Like within a month, it won't matter. But like it is something part of the initial excitement, discovering like the new like nuances and little like details.
Yeah, exactly. It is nice that we now get animated home screens. Wow, we don't.
We do. I didn't see that.
Yeah, we do.
Finally.
It's the reason I was saying that it's very reminiscent. It's like their PS5 UI is like a combination of PS4 and PS3,
but still new.
I haven't seen it.
It's new, but it looks very like the aspects of it. You can tell they literally took from both generations of their UIs.
That's not bad. Just get
to me though. To me, it's not a big deal. I don't care. Like I literally give two shits about it. If it functions, if it plays my game at a better rate than what the other one did, that is what I'm buying the console for. I don't get a new graphics card on my PC, and I'm like, man, I hope that I can fucking launch a new UI on my computer.
Bad example, boo.
You're a bad example. I hope Windows Vista comes back, but only for Peter.
What? That's a cruel thing to say for anyone. We have standards here on this channel.
We do not talk about Windows Vista. That's one of our unwritten laws of live.
I can't believe you would say that.
We're docking your page, Jarrod.
Oh shit! I knew it was coming. I knew my jokes, my comedy would be just too much. I was gonna ask you guys if you guys have seen much on. It came out recently. It's Rogue Company. It's like a 4v4 team-based multiplayer shooter, third person.
I know.
That's been out for a little bit now, right?
Yeah, it came out. The beta came out on October 1st, and it's free to play. But I was just I didn't. My one person I work with, he's been playing it a lot, and he said it's really good. Like they've been playing it nonstop. It's been fun. I was thinking that it might not be a battle. For fuck's sakes, don't let Peter near it. It's high res. And at first I thought
just fucking damn it, Peter.
Fucking high res.
At first I thought, I wonder how they're like if it's a MOBA or something similar like that or anything, because I just assumed with like 4 people in a shooter it'd be like a lane-based kind of game.
What game did they rip off this time? Because I know Paladins had Overwatch. So what does Rogue Company have? What did it rip?
I don't know. I haven't. I was gonna go download it. It's not a big game, so I was gonna go install it and see what it's like. But they apparently committed to 20 new operators in their first year of release. That is what they're doing for their game. But I was like, at that point, do you lose like uniqueness, right? Because like usually when people do reveals for operators, they're fairly different from things they've had in the game, right? But I don't know.
It's like an event when in usually like those types of games. Like in Overwatch, I still remember like the hype of Doomfist.
Yeah.
And like
Or like
everything leading up to him coming out, or Arissa, what is that her name? The
robot.
like
yeah,
the robot lady.
well, they did it for Siege too, right? Like every new season is based around the operators they released in that season. So it's like it's a big thing. Like that whole season is basically put around these two operators. But I don't know. He was talking about it so much, and he put so much hype behind it that I was like, maybe I'll have to check it out and see.
I don't know.
I don't know enough about the game to know like if they can maintain that hype for 20 operators.
I googled Rogue Company bad reviews, and I only saw negative things about it. So it doesn't look very good to me.
I googled why does Rogue Company suck,
Peter,
and it just told me all the reasons.
Can we get a new Peter UI? Do we have to stick with the current Gen 1?
I'm just saying that based off my unbiased look around the internet, it doesn't seem very good.
That is the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard someone say. Based on my research on looking up bad reviews for Rogue Company, I only found bad reviews of Rogue Company.
Coincidence? I think not.
Oh man. I haven't watched enough on it to give. I was curious if you guys had, because I know like maybe you guys heard more about it.
I've heard
but
of it.
he's been nonstop talking about it, and like that's what him and his friends have been playing each night has been Rogue Company. So I was like, well, I mean, I feel like if it has a little bit of interest, Dr. Disrespect is in it apparently.
No, he designed a map for it.
Oh, okay. I looked at the first YouTube video on it was Rogue Company, Dr. Disrespect, and it had like a picture of someone that looked like him. So I thought he was an operator.
Call of Duty level designer, so that's why they brought him in.
Okay.
No, the game we'll all actually be playing, Call of Duty Cold War. I know you said that Rogue Company is a small game, which is fine, but Call of Duty Cold War, it's only going to be 250 gigabytes on PC. So,
like, did something happen that they're like, file compression? What?
They just lost that entire program for like file compression, so they're like, fuck it.
They didn't want to install the free version off of Adobe's website, so they're like, no, we don't want to install it, so we're just gonna keep it.
And so, like,
ran out of room.
Like, mind you, the 250 gigabytes for the ultra settings mode. If you want just the recommended stats, that's a measly 175 gigabytes.
See, it's almost embarrassing because you have massive games, like stupidly massive games that are like, okay, 80 gigabytes, and you're like, wow, it's a pretty big game. Like that's a big game. You can tell there's lots. Yeah, exactly. And then you get into Call of Duty, it's like you have probably 12 maps. They're not huge, and you have to load 8 guys per team into this fucking map. Like, you do not need 250 gigabytes to do that.
But Jarrod, the gun sound files. There's so many of them. Each gun sounds unique and different.
Here, I'll make 25 unique noises, and they can use it for their guns firing, and then it's gonna be less than.
That's at least less than 75 gigabytes, Jarrod.
No, my voice is. I can compress my voice as I say them.
They're gonna hire you. They'll be like, "Holy shit, we never thought of this."
Oh man, that's so stupid. That's just the dumbest thing ever. Cause like, there's some massive PC games that are enormous in comparison to Call of Duty that do not take up that much, and you can easily play them on Ultra HD settings. Like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard them like have to even say. Like, it's stupid.
It's like, yeah,
fucking Cyberpunk, the most anticipated game of this year, probably the biggest game we're gonna get, is 70 gigabytes. Like, what
Yeah,
the fuck, Activision?
Eric,
Get your shit together.
Yeah, but Eric, it doesn't have a battle royale mode, so we can't make it 250 gigabytes.
Keanu fucking Reeves is worth 100 gigabytes on his own. Like, get the fuck out of
It's
here,
a 100
Activision.
gigabyte ping file that just sits there on your screen, your UI the entire time.
He's like, you have Keanu Reeves act like a Clippy for the little fucking paperclip thing. He just shows up anytime. He's like, "Do you need help?"
You're breathtaking.
Every time you launch your Xbox, it pops up. He gives you a compliment for coming on.
Can you imagine?
Hey.
If you
Press
pick
button.
if you don't play Cyberpunk, he's like, "Is that really the choice you want to make?"
You want to play Cyberpunk? Gotta free my dog. He died.
I'd be like, I do want to play Cyberpunk. I do.
Keanu knows.
He knows me.
Like,
Honestly,
man.
I would pay so much for that. To
That
have a little
deters me.
Keanu Reeves clippy.
I honestly don't think I'm gonna get this Call of Duty. I don't
I'm-
think
It's like, why?
it's not really on the top list of things that I want to get.
I'm kind of, yeah, like, there's so many other games being released with the next gen that I'd rather play and spend
I'd like
my
to
money
play,
on.
especially if it's gonna be like, I'd like to play games that are like this console's just gonna make it look pretty, right? Like, I feel like Call of Duty has just that generic, it's Call of Duty. Like, you make it as good as it's gonna be, and it just
Like,
takes a
Call of
little bit.
Duty, it'll look phenomenal, I'm sure. It's just, it'll just still look like Call of Duty,
Bang,
though.
bang.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang.
It's
I
like,
played the game.
Call of Duty always does look great. It just, it has that photorealistic vibe, so there's nothing that, like, wows you in it. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't have its own, like, unique styling for its graphics.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely, it's not on my to-do list. Like right now, I mean, they're currently making they're making Dead by Day. I mean, it could be wrong, but they're making like an updated version of Dead by Daylight for it, or like a enhanced version of it.
I don't know exactly what
For-
it's gonna entail, but yeah, it's coming.
Because I know
I'm
they
not
just
surprised.
they did that graphics overhaul for it in the most recent update, which they did. It looks really good after they did that.
Mhm.
They did a good job comparison to like what it started as.
I didn't notice.
You noticed the grass and everything, but you also weren't playing for quite some time, right? So it's like you came back into it, and
I just
it was
noticed the
already out.
generators. That's all I noticed.
If you,
There's a
Oh,
couple
I think-
videos that literally show
Yeah.
the transition of graphics that you can
Yeah.
watch, and it's pretty good. I did a good job of it.
there's some buildings that, like, significantly changed in, like, their detail and how they look.
So it was
That's-
just like visual. It wasn't like actual map changes.
I think they added a few
don't know.
map changes. Like they added like I know that they kind of started to introduce that before that update, where they had like breakable walls that the killers could only break.
Oh yeah.
But they
It
really
does seem
they
to be
really-
more.
they added some to the games. Like there's levels and maps that didn't have those, and now all of a sudden you'll run by and there's like walls
Okay.
that the killer can
Because
break.
when we last played, I noticed that. I was like, oh my god, what else am I gonna find on these maps now?
Yeah. I mean, that game's been fun. Like, it's just a lot of fun to play. So I can see that being more or less our multiplayer game, even in the next gen for a while. But
Mhm.
I don't know. Call of Duty just doesn't. They need to do something for me, and I don't think like Warzone was fun, but it just didn't add enough to it for me. Like after playing enough Warzone matches with you guys, like it's fun. Like anytime we play together, it's always fun because we make it fun, right? Like, or we piss each other off or something. It's always funny. But
I don't want to, like, spend the time anymore to, like, get good and like consistently stay good at those types of games, because otherwise I find it's just frustrating, and you have to put so much time to be able to, like, contend with everyone else, especially with cross play coming in, and like now you're
See,
playing
to
with
me-
PC players, so you have to really up your game constantly.
I was gonna say, like, to me, I still think that's almost unfair for shooters. Like in general, like not everyone can go and play PC. Not everyone can try and make that transition to keyboard, right? But if you're good at PC as a shooter, you're gonna dominate a lot of the time, just because of the fact that it's like, even when I switched over to Tom Clancy's Siege on PC, like my ability to play the game went up. which was like in comparison to when I was playing on console. Like all of a sudden I was making way better shots, I was more accurate, I was instantly just like I took a step above where I was on console. And I think ultimately, like if you took a really good PC player and put them against someone playing on a controller, I'd say they'd win. Like to me, it's just it's I like crossplay in certain games. Shooters aren't the game that I think is good for crossplay. I think they're it's too much of a gap if you're really good at the PC style of shooter. Like Dead by Daylight is whatever. Like you can play that game, and yeah, okay. If the few characters are better with PC, like the Huntress or Dimmadon would be better on PC. But besides that, there's not too much of a gap difference. Like when we've played Killers, Erik, recently, I haven't noticed that I'm getting memed on by PC players. Like it doesn't feel like there's too much of an advantage. And same when I'm a survivor and we're playing against a killer on PC. Like it just doesn't seem like there's enough of a gap difference. But when
aim is not integral enough to like the Dead by Daylight experience for it to like matter.
Yeah, so to me, I think that it's just I don't know. I think for shooters, it's just not a great thing. Like I think it was nice having your segregated. Like it's nice playing with your friends, but I think like multiplayer matches, you should only be able to play against someone on your console. Like if you're playing someone like
you can always turn that on for a lot of games. It's
true, but I feel like that's going to start to disappear as they do more cross-platform stuff, right? Like as it becomes more of the norm. I don't know. I just think cross-compatibility. It's good for playing with friends. It's shitty if you're trying to get good at a game on console. That's a shooter.
Well, and like I assume most games have the like they rank similarly skilled players together in matches, you know? So with crossplay. So like it doesn't fix that problem, but at least in theory, even with PC players versus console players, hopefully there's a little bit less of that drastic difference in skill and aiming ability.
Yeah.
I do think on average, like controller players can keep up with keyboard players. They just have to like go all out. Like you have to really be at the top of your game to be able to like really.
Well, it's that timing of like when to exactly release like strafing your person or when to exactly stop moving the analog stick. Whereas like PC, you literally are moving to where your eyes are looking, right? It's like a motor. It's like when we do for my masters, I was going to be doing motor learning, and they do a task where it's like a reaching task, where it's basically they put a dot, you have to reach to it, right? And it's working off the same system in the brain that they'd use for things like shooters, where you're using the mouse as your arm and you're pointing towards. Your brain's inherently faster at doing something like that than trying to control something outside of that, because it's a more natural component to you than using an analog stick, right? Because now you're trying to
range of movement doing this compared to
exactly, and it feels like that's what you should be doing when you're doing it. So your actions are way more accurate in just out of the gate. Like the keyboard's a whole nother thing. Like there's a lot of times when I've played Siege and I've pressed in, like I've been like, oh, I'm so sneaky, and then I accidentally throw a fucking grenade because I'm an idiot.
So I have a question.
So yeah.
So what if we got crossplay with people in VR? Would they have an unfair advantage, Jarrod?
As long as VR is up to date enough, yeah. Like if you're acting through the character, you'd have a lot more because you wouldn't have to. You have to look at there's a delay, right? Like if you're moving your own limbs, there's a delay. But as you're moving your own limbs to move something else, there's a delay. Like you have systems in your brain where it has to go through steps to make something happen. The only thing that bypasses that is reflex arcs, which would also start playing a role in games, right? Like if you're in VR, now reflex arcs would start to be there. So it's like if you get scared, you have a reflex arc you have muscle contractions in different areas, right? So yes, if you had VR cross compatibility and VR was like Ready Player One, how they have it where they're like elevated and then you're moving around based on where you're going, and you're on the treadmill essentially. It's like a mobile treadmill kind of thing. You'd easily be able to outdo players just because of like obviously now. There's also individuality there, right? Where it's like different people have faster reactions, it's like if you took someone who has never played, like actually gamers are a pretty interesting thing because it's like they did a study on it recently where they were comparing like pro athletes, professional shooters, or for professional gamers who play like shooters, and then they were doing general population, and they were testing reaction times. And I mean, because gaming is such a cognitive thing, the reaction times between like the athletes doing a motion and the gaming was actually pretty close, but then the general population was quite far behind on that. So it was interesting to see that. It's just the processing. It's like they're used to that quick need to like process quickly.
Can I go up to
I've seen
and say I'm better at reacting than you?
No, you can't.
I've
say
seen
that. 'Cause you're not a professional gamer either.
I think it was a similar study that they did. I don't know how true it is. That esports gamer, like esports shooter athletes have about the same reaction time as people who operate jet fighter pilots.
Yeah, because it's quick
you
reaction.
need that to be able to like win. So you have to have like the top reaction possible.
Well, it's like how do they train pilots now? They train them on simulations. They train them literally through games. Like the thing with gaming is like, and they're using it. I was talking to my one prof who would have been my with my master's. He would have been my overseeing professor, I guess. And we were talking about it, how it's like gaming is now trying to be incorporated into rehabilitation, because if you can grow new bridges inside, new neural connections inside the brain, you could, in theory, start to rehab damaged portions of brain depending on what the task is. So it's really interesting. Like, yeah, you can exactly say that, Erik, where it's like reaction times, because it's cognitive, because gaming is cognitive. And this is why, like, when you look at professional gamers, like, I don't know, I watched a documentary a while back, and it was around Team Canada for Siege, and they were talking about like their regiment and their lives and how they go about day-to-day activities and things like that. They focus, like, health and everything is so high on their list. Like, most people who think about gamers are like, oh, lazy people who sit inside, don't do anything, all this stuff. They have their life workout regimen is similar to mine when I was competing for high level hockey. And then on top of that, they'd have like hours of gaming for training, right? So no different than me doing dryland training and then going to on ice training for games. So it's insane. There's like lots of cross. Like, you need they need as much a healthy body as anyone else to function at optimal capacity when they're doing their games, because it's not easy. I don't know if anyone who says that gaming is like a piece of cake and you go play against people who are actually really good at the game, you get messed.
That's why we stop playing Overwatch.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen a lot of like streamers and stuff who are also just like absolutely jacked. Like, you can tell that they give a shit about like their health still. So completely the streamer Trihex, his biceps are bigger than my head. I swear to God. It's like, what the fuck?
Well, and that's where the discourse is, right? Like, people take such stereotypes. Like, if you took a stereotype from everyone in the world, of course there's gamers who are a little bit lazier, but there's also people who are athletes that are a little bit lazier. Like, it's just like it's a continuum. It's not like, okay, if you're an athlete, you're fucking jacked, you're healthy, you focus on health, and that is all you focus on. If you're a gamer, oh, you're lazy, you're just sedentary, fuck you, get over there. And then no, it's not like that anymore, right? Like, or it never really has been. That's just like the discourse, how people go about talking about things. Like, I don't know. Like, I love gaming, and this is where Bobby always makes fun of me. She calls me the biggest nerd of our relationship, because like, as much as I love like human systems and learning about anatomy, physiology, being healthy, doing my workouts and stuff, I equally love playing games. Like, I just enjoy it. Like,
then someone brings up Star Wars around you.
Yeah, exactly. And then it just she said to me, we can't have Star Wars talk. She doesn't like it when she's like, you can't. But yeah, no, that's like, I think it's really awesome where that connection is between gaming. Like, I really, even if I don't get into physio or OT, I'm still thinking about doing a research paper on like how gaming can be incorporated in rehab, because I think it could easily be a pivotal like point of rehab change, where it's like you can take people who have now been paralyzed and start to rebuild neural pathways inside their body, which is really amazing. Like, It's a get out of here, Bender.
Hilarious.
He's gonna hit you. But no, I don't know. I think it's cool. But yeah, back to what you said, Peter. I do believe that if you had someone on VR, they would, just because there's no middleman anymore, right? Like you are the person. I think you would have enough. Generally, have a better chance at improving yourself throughout the game, because you're literally motor learning at that point. You're not even just trying to cognitively figure out the game.
Imagine the Punisher playing Call of Duty in VR. Like, plug your head in VR. Literally, he would just like.
He just.
Well, it's like if
you give up. Like, you just don't try at that point. You'd be like, all right, well, I'll leave this lobby.
Playing Call of Duty, there's like mobility. It's
not
like
even garden camping. He would just suddenly appear above you, and you'd be like.
Well, not to mention, you'd be like this. It's like, okay, you're on controller. Fuck, I can't jump over this thing because my guy has a generic jump ability. I can only move in very square movements. And then here comes this fucking guy who's like, ooh, I have every direction kind of movement. Fuck you, come Spider-Manning down from the roof with a knife and just jabbing. And all you can do with your knife is this.
This is. Get away, Punisher! Fucking Frank Castle!
Oh man, yeah. Could you imagine you get like an MMA fighter that goes in and just starts playing any kind of like combat game, and you're just like, well, fuck. No,
go and play Mortal Kombat against Conor McGregor while he's actually in the game.
You just see him come walking towards you.
That'd be
oh, you fucking cunt!
Like, you'd be able to so easily tell the difference between people who are trained and not trained.
Me just in the corner.
You'd still have those
Get away!
kids that are like, you still have those people that are like, are you a fucking noob? And they're absolute shit at the game, but every time you make a mistake, they'd still be sitting there going, they'd be like playing with like Jason Statham, and they're like, you fucking only killed 10 people? What the fuck?
Scrub!
They wouldn't even be playing the game. The spectators, could you imagine being a spectator just sitting in a chair on the side of the map, and you're just like, this is lovely. I like to spectate. Man, that's funny.
Well,
I didn't expect that conversation to go that far with
What I got out of that is that I need to get into VR.
Buy an Xbox.
I like how Peter said he wasn't gonna get mad, and what did he do when I started talking about Cyberpunk with him?
I got.
You got mad.
I was gonna say he got passionate.
I didn't get upset though.
Yes, you did.
No, I was not.
Yes, you hit it more than once. You hit it once, you're serious. But if you start slapping it multiple times, you're angry.
If you think I got mad, let us know in the comments. I already know you're all gonna side with me because you love me.
If you think Peter got mad, press that like button.
So are there more likes?
If you think Peter didn't get mad, also press that like button.
How do we?
It'll give us a good ratio.
We exclude no one from our results.
Every result is against me. Well, yeah.
You'll never know.
We're Live Connection. We stream every Thursday and Sunday. We're a variety channel. We do a whole pile of different things. If you want to get to know us better and have a little chat, feel free to check out our Discord and any of those other social links in the description. And I hope you have a nice Sunday. Any closing comments, boys?
See you on Thursday for a variety. Oh.
No, keep going.
That's
Jared.
more important than what that's more important than what I was thinking.
No, it's not.
Eric, can you repeat that for our fans?
Peter's gonna get an Xbox One X on launch day.
No.
Series X. A Series X. Actually, no, I'll get a One X.
I'm not even gonna be able to fucking get one.
Even if I wanted
Phil Spencer's come out and been like, yeah, demand's gonna be pretty high for a while. What? I deserve one.
I expect it. Supply to meet demand.
Phil Spencer, I'll DM you and we can figure something out. Don't worry, Phil.
Oh God.
Phil, come on, Phil. You got my number.
Phil.
What's up?
Phil.
Okay. See you guys. Bye, Phil.
Phil Nye, the Xbox guy.